All right, y'all, welcome back to the Truth Seeking Network. And y'all see the title up here, right? It says, Your excuses for not owning Bitcoin have just run out. And I've been stating on this channel for a little bit now that it's time for everybody to own some Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm here to tell the truth and try to give y'all some advice before all the institutions, all the rich people buy up all the Bitcoin, and then you be forced to buy the ETF, which is not a bad thing, but it's nothing like owning the asset itself while you had an opportunity to get it. So this is the time now to get into crypto and get into Bitcoin, especially before it's too late. Now we know the halving is coming up in April. If you don't know what the halving is, it's when the supply of Bitcoin get cut in half. At the same time, institutions are buying up Bitcoin. And also, there's a chance, a possibility that in January that a spot Bitcoin ETF might get approved, or several spot Bitcoin ETFs might get approved in January. And if that does happen, Bitcoin could go to the moon. And you got to think there's only 21 million made, maybe 4 to 5 million are lost. So right now, in the circulating supply of Bitcoin left, it's probably like over a million to 2 million Bitcoin, probably not even 2 million left. And you get this 8 billion people and growing on the planet. So you do the math. If these big organizations and these big players buying it up, as well as people buying fractions every day, right now, Bitcoin is being taken off the exchanges and people are hodling it. That means they're holding on for dear life and they put it in their wallets and they're holding it for the future. There's a possibility you hear all kind of price moves that Bitcoin could be 500,000. You're hearing 200,000. You're hearing $1 million, all kind of price ranges for Bitcoin. But one thing about the halving and after the halving, Bitcoin has always went over its previous highs. And right now, the momentum in Bitcoin is building up. So this is your opportunity to get in. And like the title says, your excuses for not owning Bitcoin are running out. Don't listen to some of these people out here that's trying to steer you the wrong way. They're steering you the wrong way so that they can get up all the Bitcoin and you won't be part of the new asset class. Yes, Bitcoin is a new asset class. I mean, I said it in one of my other videos, but you think about it. This is the beginning of a new asset class, and we are still early in this game. I mean, Bitcoin has not even been adopted yet by everybody, and a lot of people still think it's a scam. And a lot of people don't even know much about it at all. But that's the way, investments work. A lot of times people get involved in investments when it's late in the game. And we all, how we all wish we all say the same things, right? Man, I wish I could have gotten it. Nobody told me. I wish I could have gotten that earlier. But nobody told me. Or I didn't hear about it till it's too late. And I said the same thing about Bitcoin. Man, I wish I would have got in it. And I remember listening to it, listening when it first came out, Bitcoins. I didn't even know what I thought they were actual coins. I was like, why in the world want to buy some coins when we already got coins? So I really didn't understand it in the beginning. I think this was like 2009, 2010. So, and then also I heard some things on mainstream media and how they were shunning it. They was trying to talk bad against it and all that. So I was listening to mainstream media at that time. So I just said, well, yeah, forget it. We don't need no Bitcoins. Like, what are these coins for? Why would I pay for coins? It didn't make sense to me. And I never did look into it further than that. But man, I wish I had. I wish I had looked in further. Because I'm going to show you a couple of teenage kids who did. And they became multimillionaires. Yep. Multimillionaires. But and again, we all have the opportunity to get in Bitcoin before it's too late. We all have opportunities still now. There's nothing holding you back or me back or anybody back from buying right now. All you gotta do is set up your account with Coinbase or one of the exchanges out here and start and do your KYC, um, and then set up your account, link it to your bank, and that's it. Some people link it to PayPal or what have you. But after that, you basically you can go on exchange and you can start owning Bitcoin. You can start buying Bitcoin, purchasing it, and learn how to get you a hard wallet so you can store your crypto on a hard wallet. And in this space, I mean, more and more, this space is growing every day, and Bitcoin is getting stronger every day. And still, the majority of people are going to be too late. They're going to wait too late, and they're going to try to jump in the game when Bitcoin is starting to fly. Right now is probably one of the last chances for you to get Bitcoin. And it might not ever go this low again. If all these institutions get into it and all these countries and all these, governments and things are mining Bitcoin, you might not ever see low prices of Bitcoin from these lows again. And so this could be historic. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. And so only time will tell, what I'm saying is true. So far, time has proven me right. When Bitcoin was at 15 and 16,000, I was urging y'all to get in. I was telling y'all not to listen to mainstream media. Bitcoin is not dead, and you should buy in. But that, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying what I would do. And now Bitcoin is at 43, 44,000 range now. That's way more than doubled. But you could have had an opportunity to get in. So, and I'm gonna keep on talking about it, and hopefully somebody listens out there. And one day you're gonna look at these videos, you'll go back and watch my videos, and you're gonna say, wow, man, he was telling you back then, and I wish we'd have listened. But I don't want you to be that person. I want you to go ahead and do your thing and get in there and don't let all the institutions own it all before it's too late. And all the rich folk because they're about to buy it all up. They're gonna own the majority of it. So yeah, Bitcoin is trading around $43,900 right now. But this is the time. Anyway, let's get into this article. All right. Uh, I'm not going to read all of this. I just want to get to some of the parts in this article. It says, before we get to the guts of the story, we have a confession. Your editor is not a Bitcoin fanatic. To be completely truthful, aside from checking the price most days, we have very little interest in it. We don't understand it. We don't get how it works. And that's how most people feel about Bitcoin. But we've still invested in it, although to be honest, it's relatively small allocation in our portfolio. So these people, they said, well, the editor, he wasn't a fanatic about it, but he put some money in it. The truth is, despite knowing very little about it, we know we know a trend when we see one, and we can see the benefit of it as it explained us to by Tiki Tuari and others. What's more, we don't believe that not understanding something should prevent you from investing in it. And I totally agree. I'm not gonna read this whole thing. I just want to kind of like skip through it. Okay. And listen, I'll get up right here. In fact, it says, in fact, as we glance at our stock portfolio right now, there isn't a single company where we could honestly say we have a mastery of its industry. The good thing is we don't need a master. We don't need to master everything. We bought those stocks because we liked and understood the basic idea of the broad trend behind them, or because we've read research from others that made a great case for investing in them. We mention all of this because the lack of understanding of Bitcoin is one of the biggest underlying reasons why people avoid it. And that is so true. Or rather, that's what they say. Now, here we go. The biggest investment trend in 100 years. That's right, y'all. Take these survey responses as an example. According to Yahoo Finance story in November 2021, a recent survey of 1,000 people across the US, Mexico, and Brazil showed that 98% of people don't understand basic crypto concepts. For instance, 90% didn't know that Bitcoin supply is capped at 21 million. Equal numbers didn't understand stablecoins either. Okay. And I told y'all, it's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. So this is the thing to stop inflation, Bitcoin. Or this from a Pew Research Center in April this year. Among the vast majority of Americans who say they have heard at least a little bit about cryptocurrency, 88%, three-quarters say they are not confident that current ways to invest in, trade, or use cryptocurrencies are reliable and safe. And that's because most people in mainstream have been kept out of Bitcoin. They've been told it's been rat poison. They've been told it's for fraud. They've been told it's for drug dealers. And so a lot of times we tend to believe everything that we see or hear on the news. And it's simply not true. You know, the biggest thing for drug dealers is what? Cash. Because why would you want to use Bitcoin for drug dealing? It's on an open ledger where everybody can see it. So you would want to use Bitcoin for that. You would want to use something like money, because money could be laundered and money could be hidden and put in suitcases and traded for drugs, and nobody knows what happens. So that's what most drug dealers will want to use. Okay. And this from crypto research firm The Block in May 2022 noted 51% of respondents in the survey, which took place in January and February and focuses on 14 countries, said the main reason they do not buy Bitcoin is that they don't know enough about it. Other major reasons include cybersecurity and theft risk, 32%, and too much price volatility, 30% of people. So you see, people make excuses for not investing in Bitcoin. Okay. And so in 2015, I think after I started looking at it again, I was watching what was that? I think it was one of those TED Talks or something, and it was talking about the future of money and crypto. And once I saw that TED Talk, I said right then and there, we got to get into this. I came home and told my wife, I said, we got to get into crypto. We got to get into crypto. And I am so glad that we did. But, it was something that we didn't know nothing about it, but I saw it then. I didn't see it in 2009, and I don't know what happened between 2009 and then. I never even thought about it, and I wish I had. I wish I had gotten a little earlier. And so, no better time than now. So, it says now go back to the Pew Research Center's survey. It found on the other end of the spectrum, few of these adults are extremely 2% or very 4% confident in cryptocurrencies. About 1 in 5, 18%, say they are somewhat confident. Of course, we understand why investors can feel cautious about it. When Bitcoin hits the mainstream news headlines, it's rarely because of a good news story. That's true. Like I was just telling y'all, they always talk about drug dealers or Bitcoin, and mainstream media always try to put Bitcoin and cryptos in a bad light. Meanwhile, they are steadily buying it up. It's almost always because the price has collapsed, or Bitcoin broker had gone bust, or someone has used Bitcoin to commit fraud or some other criminal activity. All of those things only serve to do one thing, to keep regular investors from taking a chance on the biggest investment trend in more than 100 years. You guys are missing out. To say that's a crying shame would be an understatement. especially when you consider the gains investors have been able to make from crypto since it broke away from the fringe in 2016. All right, y'all. So I'm not going to read this whole long article, but I'm here to tell y'all Bitcoin is here and Bitcoin is here to stay. And it's time for y'all to get in. All right. Now we're going to check out what Michael Saylor has to say. He just came on TV the other day. Let's look at this little interview real quick and see what he says. Oh, let me read this little part. In short, despite everything the mainstream media has put up against it, talking about Bitcoin, to paraphrase John Adams, Bitcoin survives. Investors are beginning to make more and more notice of it and are beginning to appreciate it as a genuine asset. What's more, if Tiki is right about the direction for Bitcoin, not only will it be a genuine asset on Wall Street, but it could be the single best performing asset of 2024. Now is the time. Get educated on it. Your excuses for not doing so have just about run out. All right? And that's what I'm trying to warn you and tell you now. This is the Truth Seeking Network, and I'm here to tell you the truth. So I don't know what mainstream media is doing, but I'm trying to get you to the truth. All right. So let's check out this little interview with Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, the CEO of MicroStrategy, and see what he says about Bitcoin.
Joining us now, the executive chairman and co-founder. Michael, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Morgan.
I do want to start right there with the regulatory landscape. The fact that Coinbase is now filing a petition in federal appeals court requesting review of the decision by the SEC. Is this the type of situation that could impact Bitcoin or impact the type of work you're doing at MicroStrategy?
No, there's a lot of uncertainty around the rest of the crypto ecosystem, but the one certain element of the ecosystem is Bitcoin is universally acclaimed to be a global commodity or an asset without an issuer. Mm-hmm. So the one thing we can count on is Bitcoin goes forward in the year 2024, and the strategy built around Bitcoin is generally a pretty safe one for institutions.
New rules, speaking of regulations, recently announced by the Financial Accounting Standards Board, the FASB, that are going to require companies to account for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin at fair value. Set to go into effect, these rules, in the next year or so, but companies can begin to apply them earlier than that. How is that going to affect MicroStrategy?
You know, we welcome fair value accounting. It's gonna create much more transparency and clarity in P&Ls and balance sheets for any companies that are holding Bitcoin. I think the real significance is that there are companies like Berkshire Hathaway and Apple Computer that have $100 billion plus in cash. And right now they have to invest it in treasuries and sovereign debt. And with this change in fair value accounting, you're going to have a commodity that's valued as fair value, and it becomes a legitimate treasury reserve asset for publicly traded companies.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before on the potential for more adoption, although I suspect Berkshire Hathaway is probably not going to be on that list of companies looking to adopt based on commentary there. I do want to get your thoughts, though, on Bitcoin and the rally we've seen just in the last 2 months or so, since early October, up something like 56%. What do you attribute that rally to?
You know, we're going through a digital transformation of everything. Apple represents a digital transformation of telephones and cameras, and Google's the transformation of books and libraries. Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of capital. 99.9% of the capital in the world is tied up in real estate and stocks and precious metals and bonds. And so we're 0.1% transformed. People, as they get educated on digital assets, are realizing that they ought to be allocating more and more of their capital to this digital asset. And so they're moving from 0.1 to 0.2%. And I think that's really driving the trend. I've said before, if Bitcoin's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million. The real question is it legitimate asset? If it's a legitimate institutional asset, everybody is underallocated to it.
So along those lines, how much is the possibility of a Bitcoin spot ETF contributing to this recent rally? Geopolitics, risk-on rally that we've seen more broadly across markets amid the Fed pivot, and also next year's halving. Are all of these factors that are contributing?
They're all factors. Education makes a difference. Institutional adoption makes a difference. The spot ETF news is good news. Loosening of monetary policy is good news. Inflation anywhere in the world drives Bitcoin adoption. And of course, the halving is going to cut the available supply of Bitcoins for sale in half from the miners. And so we've got a confluence of very bullish milestones over the next 6 months. And I think smart money is investing into that ahead of it.
I do wonder what you think about the centralization of mining, though, and whether you're concerned, since so much of the crypto community does seem to be flagging it right now.
People focus upon mining pools, but the actual mining is taking place in Bhutan and in Argentina and South America and Texas and Europe and Iceland and Africa, everywhere in the world. And so the miners themselves are very decentralized. They'll remain decentralized because they're chasing after power that's effectively marginally free. And the pools, they will accumulate hash rate from time to time, but they don't really have the power. The power is sitting next to a geothermal or a hydroelectric project somewhere in the world.
Well, I think that there are 3 reasons that the rally in Bitcoin will be a sustainable one and will extend into the next year. One is what Mike Sonnenschein just talked about, the Bitcoin spot ETFs hitting the US markets. I think just today, a national TV ad by one of the issuers was, on live TV. So this is phenomenal, and it shows us that, it's a question of when, and it's not even when, or when in January will we have ETFs and multiple of those. So this is a huge driver because regardless of what anybody says, the retail to the large extent is still on the sidelines and is yet to come in the way we saw them in 2020 and 2021. So that's one influx. Obviously, institutional interest will flow via, the ETFs will, in my mind, be approved. And, we have the pivot of the Federal Reserve, which, markets being the discounting mechanism of future events will be priced in, and this will be good for risk-on assets. And last but not least, a little bit of a geeky, it's the Bitcoin halving, this a cycle of 4 years of reducing the rewards for miners. This is a disinflationary mechanism built in Bitcoin. So 2024 is going to be a strong year for crypto.
How strong? I mean, this year, as Joe and Mike Sonnenschein were talking about, went from 17 to 44. Now we're at 42. Next year, what kind of price levels are we going to see? Likely.
Well, I am pretty confident we'll see 100,000 within 2024 per Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin has done crazier things than double in. And, we have flushed out the system of 2 things. One is leverage. So lots of the buying is spot buying, which gives you steadier hands to hold on to the Bitcoin that has been acquired. So this is always good. And then the second thing is that leverage could build up, and this usually is associated with the later cycles where we go into the mania state, and I think we are quite far from that. And this is something that, me being a crypto native, and I see how people are interacting, and the retail is not in on this. It's almost a hated rally. It is propelled mostly by the insiders and the people who already have been in crypto and have relocated their portfolios after the carnage of 2022. So I think, it's just a perfect alignment for this to continue in 2024.
When you use credit card rewards for air travel,
I got this next commercial coming up. This is the new Bitwise commercial. Y'all remember this guy, right? He said, "Stay thirsty, my friends," on the I think one of those alcohols that I don't know what, I don't drink. So anyway, one of the alcohols, he says, "Stay thirsty, my friends." Well, this is the same guy. And now he's doing crypto commercial. Check it out.
You know what's interesting these days? Bitcoin. Look for Bitwise, my friends.
Right. So this is one of the teenagers that I was telling you about earlier. His name is Eric Finman, and the teenage Bitcoin millionaire. Now, this young teenager right here, well, he not, I think he's like 19 years now, but he bought Bitcoin when he at 12 years old, right? He was just 12 years old. So the teenager who first bought Bitcoin at age 12 with $1,000 from his grandmother styles himself in similar vein to the notorious Martin Shkreli. He's just younger and not in jail. All right, so this is a young guy, right? He bought his Bitcoin. Finman first heard of Bitcoin when his older brother took him to an Occupy Wall Street protest. He fell in love with the revolutionary potential of cryptocurrency, he says. An early adopter, Finman bought his first Bitcoin when it only cost around $10, y'all. Now, I think this is an old article still, but imagine that he got a Bitcoin for $10. Right now, a Bitcoin is trading for $43,900 a piece. Just a few years later, it hit around $1,100. Finman sold 100,000 worth of Bitcoin when the cryptocurrency was on the up, and at age 15, used the money to start an online educational business called Botangle, which matched students with tutors via video chat. He was inspired to start a business, he says, because he had a terrible school life. One teacher told him to drop out and work at McDonald's, while another held an Eric Finman roast session where students were encouraged to make fun of him. Despite his business success, his parents wouldn't let him completely drop out of school. So he made a bet with them. If he made 1 million before turning 18, he would have to attend college. He wouldn't have to attend college. He won that bet last year. Now, I think this is an old article. Let me scroll them up real quick. See when this was written. This got a date on it. Let's see, most articles have a date. Wow. I think this is yes, this is Wednesday, June 2018. 2018. Okay, so this will give y'all perspective on this. Now we're in 2023. And let's read on. In 2015, Finman made his best business move. He sold Botangle's technology. The buyer offered him either 300 Bitcoin or 100,000 in cash. He opted for the Bitcoin. At the time, it was a gamble as Bitcoin had dipped and were worth around $200 a piece. Wow. It says, even though the currency continues to fluctuate wildly, I spoke to Finman shortly after the South Korea cryptocurrency exchange Conrail was hacked, causing the value of Bitcoin to plummet 10% 2 months lows. He still made good on his investment. One Bitcoin is now worth around $6,500. So in 2018, at this time, the Bitcoin was worth $6,500, y'all. Finman has 401 Bitcoin, as well as various other cryptocurrencies, and continues to bet on its future. Bitcoin will either be nothing or everything, and I think it would be more everything, or crypto will, at least he said. Now check this out, y'all. So I did the math on that. 401 Bitcoins, right? Times 401 Bitcoin times 43,900, because that's what it was trading at today. 43, today is, what's today's date? So I'm gonna give y'all in perspective. Today is December the 20th, 2023. And Bitcoin was at 43,900. So 43,900 times 4. If he still has the 401 Bitcoins, y'all, that's $17,603,900 today. So you can see Bitcoin is significantly up over 2018 from 6,500. And I know a lot of you guys wish you could buy Bitcoin at 6,500 right now. But remember, last year, when as I told you, it dropped down to 15 to 16,000. And now it's trading at 43,900. All right. So I'm gonna end this video. Y'all can check out these articles. There's more than him now. There's more Bitcoin teenagers who made, and other people who made millions in crypto. There are way more people. And some of those stories y'all can look through yourselves and check out. Look at this page right here. 12 Bitcoin success stories. Meet Bitcoin millionaires. Top 26 young millionaires of Bitcoin. See, there's so many stories how this 19-year-old became a millionaire. Meet the teenage dropout who became a Bitcoin billionaire. How two brothers went from nearly jobless to multimillionaires. See, and Bitcoin is still in the beginning. And this was a 12-year-old kid, and people told him he wasn't going to make it or become anything. But you know what? His strong will and his mind, and he knew better for himself. And now he owns companies. This guy is a multimillionaire. All right? So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is the Truth Seeking Network. Y'all, time is running out. I hope y'all listen before it's too late. Peace till next time. And I'm out.